So you've tried the standard New Year's resolutions. You've tried listening to David Goggins' YouTube videos every morning and cranking it high on the volume. You've watched tape videos on repeat over and over and over again, trying to motivate yourself. Now I'm actually going to give you the way that you can change your life in 90 days. Going over and watching the old Joe Rogan podcast, getting pumped up, but what actually has changed in your life? Have you evaluated it? Have you looked at it? Have you seen the difference in yourself? Or are you just the same old guy that you were before and it's dwindled away? I feel like for most of you, that is the case. The big mistake where everyone starts when we look at the first 30 days, the beginning of trying to change something about yourself or to try and change a habit or to improve something or to push yourself to do something new. The beginning problem that always happens is people look at the solution. So they look at what they need to do to change. They look at, setting a goal and what the goal is, and they look at the external when they think about that, rather than evaluating themselves and looking at themselves and why they have those problems. So most people will think, let's say I want to lose weight. Okay, I want to lose weight. So to lose weight, I've got to do this, and this. They don't look at why they're out of shape in the first place or why they're overweight in the first place. They just look at the solution. They don't look at the problem. So maybe the solution is good, and they start with the solution, but then over time, the solution that doesn't give them the results they want, or it's not quick enough, or they don't feel it enough, and they go back to the old habit, which was the problem in the first place. And that problem consists. So the problem can stay the same, and you can chuck a plaster on top of it, and it can kind of ride at the same time together. But normally the problem, because it's more consistent in your life, it lasts longer and it comes back through in the future. It's very hard to actually change the habit if you're not evaluating the problem. If you're not looking at why it's like that to start with, and you're just trying to put something on top of it by setting a new goal and trying to push yourself in a new way, but not evaluating the problem, then it's obvious when you think about it like that it's not going to work. So self-evaluation and self-respect is the first key aspect to changing who you are, to making a difference. For these goals and these New Year's resolutions to actually happen, don't think about the resolution, think about why you need that resolution. Have that self-analysis. And the way you can do that is you create the perfect version of yourself, and you look at yourself and you think, if I could only do this, and this, and you can create this perfect image of yourself, you can then add a reason to why you don't do that now. You can evaluate, well, the perfect version of me would do this, but I don't do it because this, and this. So then you need to get rid of the negatives and replace them with positives. So making change is not only about having positive habits, it's about replacing negative habits with the positive habits. The problem is most people just focus on the positive ones and they forget about the negative ones, and the negatives ones deep down a little bit, and they maybe dwindle for a couple of weeks and then they resurface and they come back. So they never really assess, look at the problem and solve the problem. So for the first 30 days of this 90-day transformation, you're going to spend the entirety of that time focusing on what you need to change and why you need to change it, and understanding yourself more and having those harsh conversations with yourself, looking yourself in the mirror and thinking, why am I like this? What is the reason for it? And once you know the why, it's much easier to find out what the how is to change the habit. Once you've established the problems, or once you've identified the issues in your life or the things that you think are holding you back, then you have to reaffirm the positive constantly. It takes time and effort to make these changes. It doesn't just happen. You just don't think of it and it's done. You need to analyze, identify, and then you need to come up with a game plan on how to change that. And that game plan needs to be consistent in your mind every single day. So the way I think is that the easiest and most simple way to do this is to have daily affirmations, to set yourself up with daily affirmations that you say to yourself every single day. You can write on your phone, you can write them down before you go to sleep, whatever you want to do, and speak this into the universe. And having that confidence in yourself to say things out loud, to talk about it, and after analyzing yourself and taking that critical blow and then talking it into existence, day in, day out, it's always a reminder to your nervous system and to yourself who you're trying to become. Because you're not that person yet. Even though you're trying to set these habits and you're trying to be this person, this is what stops you falling back into the old ways, is the daily affirmations. Because every time you say that, yeah, you can say it with no meaning and you can say it with no belief, and then kind of fall back in, but then you know you're tricking yourself. And like I said, if you're doing what you say you're going to do, and you're a person that believes in themselves and you want to change, when you say these things, these affirmations that you build, this process that you build, these habits that you build, then you have to fulfill them. So you have to fulfill what you say out loud. And if you have that mentality alongside having done the analysis and then continually looking at yourself throughout the process every week, reevaluating how your week went, what difference it made, it will make a change to your internal dialogue. Most people are stuck where they're stuck because of how they're speaking to themselves every day, how they view themselves. You can change that instantly if you just think differently about yourself, talk differently about yourself. One of the big things I see is people have a negative opinion of themselves, but they expect other people to have a positive opinion of them. People don't stay true to their own word, but they expect other people to trust their words. Doesn't make any sense. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. And then if you consistently do that, when you say to somebody you're going to do it, they will trust you because they feel it on an energetical level, and you are known as someone that does what they say. So these basic things just become intrinsical once you understand them. You never lie to yourself, then other people will trust you. If you're positive about yourself, other people will be positive about you as well. If internally you're talking to yourself, calling yourself a piece of shit every day, and then you wake up and you want to try and persuade someone to do something, they're like, why would I do anything? You're a piece of shit. Why would I listen to you? Because they can feel what you feel, what you say. And I always say this, that thoughts are things. Whatever you're thinking about yourself, whatever you're saying to yourself, it is a reality. You are building that reality somewhere in an alternate universe. So if you're building an alternate reality, to bring it to this reality, it's a lot easier if you're imagining it constantly, visualizing it constantly, talking about it constantly. If it's in a positive light, you can bring more positivity to your life. So it sounds like woohoo bullshit, but if you're doing it every single day, it just keeps you on track. It stops you from falling back into your former self, from falling back on the affirmations, or falling back on the resolutions that you made, on falling back on those goals, because every single day you're saying them and you believe them. And you're remembering and you're talking and in every action. And then when you feel like a bit of negativity creep in, which is going to, you can combat it rather than it just being the default mode. You're trying to change your default operating system from being negative and lazy to being proactive and positive. That's what we're trying to do. So you have to think proactively. You have to think positively. You have to speak positively. And you have to understand everything you're saying outwards is 10 times as powerful as something you're saying internally, because you would have thought it 10 times before you say it out loud. So if you are speaking out loud badly about yourself, that is 10 times happening inside yourself. And if you're saying negative things about yourself 10 times in your own brain, how is your self-image going to be? And that is portrayed just through how you move, how you talk, how you walk, everything. It exudes out of you like an energy because you're internally just shitting on yourself all day long. So that's the thing we need to change. The first 30 days, we identify the issues. We work out what they are and we look at how to change those and we think about that system. In the next 30 days, from 30 to 60, we're going to look at our internal dialogue. We're going to create affirmations that we say out loud. The external affirmations we say the point of them is to change the internal. We're trying to change our internal dialogue. Like I said, if you say something out loud, it's 10 times more powerful than something you say internally. So even if you force yourself to say it, it will help you change your internal dialogue over time. If you say things like, I am the man, and you believe it, and you say it every day, trust me, you'll act like the man, and other people will treat you like the man, because I am the man. You say it, and it holds power when you do it that way. And you should see a shift in your mentality, a shift in your environment, a shift in how people speak to you and treat you. That will be the biggest one. You'll notice people almost look at you differently, or people talk to you differently, or act differently around you because you're giving off a different vibe, vibration, if you want to use vibe and vibration, energy, whatever you want to call it. But it comes from internal power, internal confidence. Your internal dialogue is positive. You're a positive person. It doesn't mean you have to go around. People know me personally. I'm not like, rainbows and daisies and talking about flowers and being, you're amazing, dude, but none of that crap. I'm myself. But I sit in my own energy, and people feel that when I say something, I mean it and it matters because I know it matters, because I talk to myself every single day and I have positivity go through my brain every day, and everything I say matters because I know I'm going to do it. So when I say something, it has power rather than just being so self-critical all the time. You have to be self-critical. That's a good point to talk about, is you have to analyze yourself and you have to make change and you have to be brutal with yourself. So being self-critical is fine if it's in that frame, the frame of trying to improve, of trying to become better. It's a positive thing to be critical of yourself because you're trying to become better. But if you're just being critical and doing nothing about it, and you're just talking about how shit you are, it doesn't help anything, doesn't help anybody. You know, you just walk around with low energy and people just ignore you and don't care about you. So if you want to change who you are, you have to first start off with the internal. Like I said, the first 2 phases that we've spoken about. Once you've done that, and once you've really, it takes a bit of time. I'm saying it's in 60 days, but maybe it's going to take you repetition. If you do it properly, it's fine. Like everything, it takes practice and it takes reps. Once you've done those 2 phases, then you move on to the New Year's resolution phase. I now have changed my internal and I want to change the external. So I want to set goals. I want to think about what I want and what I want to become, the achievements that I want for my life and how I'm going to get there. And you can do some goal setting. But there's no point in setting goals if you don't look inside yourself first. There's no point in trying to change the external life you live if you don't try and change the internal life you live every single day, because the power of it constantly going on in your brain, it controls everything in you. So if you look inside yourself and make those changes, then the goal setting side gets easy. And then you'll see that you actually start achieving those things, because it should align. Once you identify the issues inside yourself and then you set a game plan to change those through affirmation and through talking and positive personal dialogue, internal dialogue, then when you align those and you set out your goals for the year or for the month or for the day or for the week or whatever it's going to be, those goals will happen because you're in a frame where everything is good, everything is positive, you're striving, you're pushing, because that's how you're speaking to yourself. Whereas if you're speaking to yourself like a piece of shit and you're trying to achieve this amazing thing, how does a piece of shit achieve something amazing? They don't. So you always fail. So you have to frame yourself first. You have to prepare yourself for the journey before you go on it. And that's the part that you've missed so far. That's the part that no one talks to you about. Everyone just talks about the goal setting, the resolutions, whatever it's going to be. You have to do the preparation first. It's 2 months of preparation compared to a month of goal setting. Then once you know those goals, you will fly and you will move much faster and you will achieve much more, and you will see the difference in how people treat you. When I started doing this, that's the thing I noticed first, was other people speaking to me a certain way. And then you can take that confidence and you can leverage that confidence online, and you can change your online presence. And you know how online, when you look at online profiles, for some reason you respond to one and you don't respond to the other, and they're both trying to sell you something. They both look amazing and they're both, but you just find one of them has more of an impression on you. They have more of an impression on you because they're real and because they believe it. The other person's just faking it. And you can kind of sense that on some level. Most people can. You can sense if it's fake. You can sense if they're pushing a fake narrative, or if they're pretending and they're a pretender. If they're really them and that's who they are, you can feel it through the screen. And that's what you can do. Once you've aligned yourself and controlled, changed your internal voice, you can then change your external voice, and then you can leverage that by changing your online voice. But you can't start with your online voice, which again is what everyone tries to do. Everyone tries to look cool on Instagram, but really they're a loser and no one gives a shit about them because they don't even give a shit about themselves. So if they don't care about them, why should anyone else care about them, especially on the internet? And they try and leverage early. You have to change yourself first. You have to believe in yourself first. And once you believe in yourself, you can get your neighbors and your friends and your colleagues to believe in you. And once they believe in you and you can influence those people around you, you can influence the world online. But people try and move straight to the world online rather than being a person of influence in their community, on their street, in their office, someone that people are inspired by and look up to because they see them and they sense them and they feel them. That's what that's what Instagram is. That's what online is. It's leverage. And you only get leverage from being real. And people can sense that and they can feel that. So if you go through these 3 phases, you can completely upgrade and completely change your life. But the first 2 phases are the most important. They're the ones you've been missing. That's the hack or the life hack or the secret that you're looking for, is look yourself in the mirror and make the hard choices, make the hard decisions, and really evaluate where you're at and do the internal work before you try and do the external. So if you're watching this video and you actually want to make these changes to your life and you actually want to do something, I'm going to give you a few tips and things that maybe you should write down or you should make note of in the phases. So like I said, we've got these 3 phases. The first phase is all about identification. It's all about identifying where you're at, who you are, and why things are not going the way you want them to. And so you need to really, again, sit down, look in the mirror, or, think deeply about who you are, how you got there, and why you are where you don't want to be, and what are the reasons. And don't blame other people. Don't say, I'm not where I want to be because of my parents. I'm not where I want to be because my ex-girlfriend left me. And I'm not where I want to be, but that's just all cope. It's not their fault. It's your fault. You have to understand it's your fault, and you have to identify the character flaws and the issues and the problems with yourself and why you're not achieving what you want to achieve. That's step 1. So it's a harsh step and it's not easy, and that's the reality, and that's the bit that's, the more you put into that bit, the more powerful this whole thing's going to be. If you just write, I'm not achieving because I didn't get lucky yet, then good luck, But if you actually look at yourself and look at why you are the way that you are, and maybe you don't know yet, maybe that's where you've got to spend. That's why I say it's a 30-day phase, because maybe it's going to take you a month to be in different situations, and you can try and, memory isn't a fantastic tool, to be honest, because our memories are so warped, but try and remember the last time that you felt in a negative state, or you felt like negatively about something, and think why you felt that negativity. Think about why, when you felt frustrated, or someone was talking and you didn't feel like you could say what you wanted to say because you felt judged, or whatever it is, and you couldn't achieve what you wanted to achieve in that situation. Why? Whose fault is it? I always say, like, a lot of people, you can have a very, very, very successful person, and that guy can inspire one person and it can make someone else feel like shit about themselves. Is it the successful person's fault that the guy feels shit about himself, or is it the guy who feels shit about himself's fault? Because that successful person inspires one person and he makes the other person feel like shit. The guy who feels like shit needs to evaluate why he feels bad. It's not the successful person's fault. He's just trying to live his best life, So if that could be what you're doing, that could be you could be looking around and seeing your friends achieving things and winning, and rather than clapping them along, you could be like, well, I'm not doing that because and the people that are cheering them along are feeling happiness and feeling joy, and you're feeling sad. Things like that. You need to look at your situation, look at how you're reacting to other people. Think about the last time you felt like a problem or sadness, and why. What's the issue? Because if you've got access to the internet, which you obviously have because you're watching this video on YouTube, then and you're young, you literally have unlimited options. So you have to really turn it on its head and look at it that way, rather than being down about it. So I want you to write down a list of those characteristics you think that maybe are holding you back, or limiting beliefs, or things that you can't seem to understand, and then understand the actions that you're taking that are reinforcing those, and the time you are wasting. The most basic one is going to be doom scrolling. How much time do you spend on Instagram just scrolling for evaluate that. Go on your phone and have a look at how much time you waste on your phone. And then when you say to your friend, I ain't got time to go to the gym. Okay, but you spent 6 hours on Instagram yesterday. These excuses need to go away. This cope needs to disappear. So that would be for the first phase. I would write out a list of the characteristics that you, for some reason, you don't know why, and you've identified that they're a problem. They're the problem. Not what you want, but they're the problem. And then why they are happening. Like what are you wasting and spending your time on every single day? Identify those things, and then we can look at changing them. And then in the next phase, use those problems that you've identified and the reason for those problems, and then try and build systems around how to change your internal dialogue about those issues. You don't need a list of 50. You just need a list of 5 or 3 or 2. I'm lazy. Could be one. You could be a lazy prick. Why are you a lazy prick? That's what the section's about. So you need to work out what you're wasting your time on. I don't get out of bed till 11 o'clock because I'm tired. Come on. Do some research into sleep patterns, into how long you need to sleep, how you're supposed to sleep, looking at screens before you go to bed, all the blue light, all this stuff you could look at. And you just need to evaluate what the problem is first. Once you know the problem, your mind will find the solution for you, if you want the solution. So the first section, you've got to identify all of the problems. Work out why those problems, what you're reinforcing those problems with in behavior, your behaviors that are reinforcing those problems. Then identify how to change those problems internally through dialogue, through the way you speak to yourself, through knowledge. What, like I just said, if you've got terrible sleep and you wake up tired every single day, why? You're a 20-year-old kid and you're waking up tired, for example. Bullshit. You should wake up every single day, driven to get something done. But it's to do with how you sleep, and that comes down to knowledge. So research into the topics, research into what your problems are. Research why, how you solve those. And then that gives you a way to affirm positivity into those situations. You've identified the negative. You've identified the behaviors of the negative. You've identified a way to get knowledge about the negative. And then you've now reaffirming positivity with it through affirmations and through action. That will make a change to your personality. That will make a change to your life. And then from there, you can go on to the final part, which is setting goals. You know, and there's a million videos on YouTube about how to set goals. And all I would say is the method to set a goal is that there's 4 things that are important about how to set a goal. It's what the goal is, obviously, when you're going to do that goal, why you want to achieve that goal, and how you're going to do it. So if your goal is, I want to lose 10 kilos, okay, that's the what. When, how, why, and add those parts on. And you can set as many goals as you want. I believe you should only have 3 goals at a time, like that you can actually focus your time and energy on. But I would write a list of 10 goals, and then I would prioritize those goals from 1 to 10. And whatever number 1 and number 2 and number 3 is, I would get rid of the other 7, and I would put them in your pocket. I'd achieve 1, I'd achieve 2, I'd achieve 3, and then I'd reevaluate the other 7. That is a system in a very short video that you can actually make happen, and in 90 days, you can completely change your life. And if this video isn't enough for you and you think you want to dive deeper and you want to understand this better, then this is one of the core identifying pillars of my community that we talk about in it every single day. And I give you a day-by-day step with worksheets, weekly tasks to do and go through, and videos to watch across that 90-day period. The community is called The Upgrade. It's in the top line of the description if you want to join. Community of other people like yourself who are trying to achieve, trying to grow, trying to become better. And this just helps give you some backup. If you're struggling to do it on your own, and you've been trying for months and months and months, or years and years and years, to try and get these affirmations in point, or to make these changes in your life, and for some reason it doesn't happen, you also get access to me because I do calls within the community to talk you through some of these steps and go over more of the common issues for everybody. But yeah, so if it's something that you want to get more deeply involved with, then join The Upgrade. Hopefully this info is helpful for you and you actually put it into practice. That's the most important thing. That's how you'll make real impact and change on your life, is by doing it. I know it sounds simple, but there's so much information out there now, and we are inundated with information through social media constantly every single day. If you made it to the end of the video, please now take action. Do something with it, and I'll see you guys very soon.